I had one, Bernardo Castro, a fella I interviewed just a few episodes ago, called them convenient fictions. And I really liked the idea that we're consistently setting up these convenient fictions, but we're doing so right now. I'm dreaming you, you're dreaming me. We're having all kinds of subconscious and unconscious, dreamlike images that are occurring to us even through this conversation. And so when we go to sleep or when we are in these states of psychedelia, that ego, what we would call the ego, isn't in the driver's seat, and so we get a lot. And in volume 5, Jung starts it with, we have two kinds of thinking: directed and non-directed thinking. And our culture does a whole lot of directed thinking, and we don't have a lot of space for listening and being receptive and
Right,
tuning
right.
into our dreams. So it does seem odd that we don't really have that. And so, of course, it's created in the counterculture, and you go to a rave and take MDMA. You can get take the tour of the cosmos, but it's not grounded in a particular tradition. It's kind of hedonistic and wild, which is fine. I'm not knocking
Yeah,
that. I just think that we need to have these spaces for ecstatic experience.
right, exactly. And I think the great value of psychedelics, both for tools for exploring consciousness and, dare I use the word, expanding consciousness, and its therapeutic use, is the fact that it does disable this default node network, this set of expectations. What I sometimes call, I like my term better, I call it the reality hallucination. It is this model of the world that we create for ourselves to just navigate through the world. A lot of what the brain does is exclude information. A certain amount of information comes through our sensory receptors, and we take that and we sort of massage it, we associate it with memories and other kinds of things. We construct this model of the world. It's not reality. It's the model that we inhabit that lets us make sense of our existence, and it's very convenient, on a day-to-day basis. But once in a while, you just want to shut that fucker down, and see what unfolds.
Yeah, what happens next, man, when I don't know it?
Yeah, and that's what psychedelics let you do. They let you step outside this reference frame temporarily. And if you do that, you've opened the way to ways of knowing that the brain normally actively suppresses, because it's not convenient it's not germane to your immediate survival, and, driving on the freeway or whatever you have to do to be focused. But again, if you create the right setting where you don't have to worry about those things, you can just demolish this thing. It will reestablish. You have to be confident of that. It's very resilient. The equilibrium will come back, but
Yeah.
it will come back in a better way. It's like rebooting the computer. Literally, I think there's a lot of analogy to that. It's like, you reboot your computer and it works better for a while. All the kludge that builds up has gone temporarily. I think that's what the being able to step outside this reference frame does. So if you're dealing with a pathology, for example, depression or addiction or trauma, these sorts of things, just being able to distance yourself from
Yeah.
it, look at it from a different perspective, in a way, gives you power over that thing. It gives you insight into that process. And then that, I think, you can resolve it.
Y'all don't know, like, my past. You know about Hurricane Katrina. And a lot of it's just personal shit. Events here in this life of the boy that yanked my glasses off and threw them on the ground and stepped on them. And I thought they were really pretty. And he crushed them and laughed and ran away. And playground stuff, where I got shoved off of a swing and landed in the dirt and then got made fun of because I was all dirty. And then adults, jobs that I've had where I made a mistake or I spilled something on a customer, and then they go to the manager and I'm getting cussed at, yelled at. All of these really painful, difficult experiences. I've had an incredible amount of abuse, and being undiagnosed autistic and growing up Gen X, I mean, it's no one knew what that was. So the difficulties and what I've had to live with my whole life have been very traumatizing. I don't think I've ever been in a healthy relationship, and I am only finally single and really having the space to deal. This is not recreational. This is not fun. I'm not trying to be a psychonaut. This is healing. I had someone highly trained with me who was holding space with me, sitting right beside me, who knew exactly what I was doing and felt like I was competent to do it. That person has been working with psilocybin for 25 years. This is healing.
Unlike the usual psychopharmaceuticals, which just put band-aids on things.
So go deeper into that. Will you talk about the healing nature? What do we in the West do? What's our underlying assumption there, and what do folks in the indigenous traditions do as far as healing is concerned?
Well, again, I think in the West we have we have this scientific bias, and so therapists and so on are, I think this is why psychedelics, why we have to develop whole new therapeutic paradigms and protocols in the West. The Western tradition, Western medicine, is very much in denial of the spirit, and the spiritual aspects, and the medicine has been trying to exorcise the spirit out of medicine for 150 years. We're just complex machines. You apply the right molecular monkey wrench and you can fix the machine. It's not that simple, and indigenous traditions, by contrast, they, they, whether they're stoned or not, and as part of day-to-day life, they are aware of the existence and the validity of this sort of more or less unseen realm of experience, which that's a reality for them. They don't deny its existence. They don't experience it all the time, or maybe some do, but they, so when they get into the psychedelic space, they're really going into a realm that they know exists, that is a reality for them, and probably in some ways less disrupting for them because it is part of their, personal and cultural worldviews. Mm-hmm. And for us in the West, conditioned to reductionism and all that, it's maybe more disruptive, but still very useful to have this experience. One of the things that one of many things that psychedelics have taught to me, I think, about science is just recognize its limitations. I get consistently the message, remember how little you know, how little we know. And science has been able to explain a great deal about our understanding, but we should not, we should remain humble, because we should realize, yeah, we know a lot, but then in the grand scheme of things, we don't really know very much at all, and this is not depressing. This is exciting to me, because it means there's so much more to be discovered, so much more to be learned. We should not delude ourselves that we have anything like complete understanding of the way things are. I'm always amused when, every once in a while, some scientist will come out with a book that says, we pretty much have this thing figured out. There's a few minor things that we can, a few T's to cross and I's to dot, but we know how this thing works. You don't know shit. That's the thing. We know a very, very tiny fraction of the cosmos, of the universe, and we know tiny slices of reality in great detail, and that's useful. But as far as putting the full picture together, we don't really do that. Pure science should always be ready to question, its models and change them as needed as new information comes in. That's how we expand our learning and understanding.